picked up the daily band sheet to see what my duties for the day were. I looked at it and a big shiver went down my spine. He was back on board. Oh fuck, I just thought to myself. The worst comedian to ever exist has come back. Why did they book him? The last 2 times he died a major death on stage. That's just suicide putting him on their stage. He was an old man with gags from 3 decades ago. He would sometimes get a laugh from the audience when the ship was full of old reptiles. He wouldn't be getting any laughs today. It was a booze cruise. The theatre would be full of drunkard stag night scum. These passengers would be completely hammered before they even got on board the ship, let alone in the theatre. My heart just sank. It sank to the bottom of the sea whilst I was holding the Harbinger's sheet of paper. I just knew that this was going to go so wrong. Later that day, at the start of rehearsal, I saw this poor excuse of a funny man backstage. I acknowledged him and ran up through the auditorium and hid inside my control room. I loaded his pre-plotted show, which was adequately named Complete Shit. I sat at my lighting desk and waited for the inevitable. The rehearsal lasted only 10 minutes, as he did want to ruin the gags for us boys. All he wanted to do was a mic check and a slideshow check before he went off. The reality of the rehearsal was, I've seen this show fuck knows how many times. It never changes. It's the same old shit jokes, as always. When he needs a boost of laughter, he then serves up a semi-racist joke to save his worthless arse. I just knew from the bottom of my bottomless heart that racism wasn't going to save him tonight. For little did he know that there was an unusual amount of ethnic minorities on board this cruise. There'd be no one in there to save him, or be willing to save him. I put the slideshow of self-glorification on the side screens and waited for him to fuck off out of my way. Later that evening, I returned to my control room. It was 15 minutes before the show started. The curtain was down. This hideous slideshow of lies was projected onto the side screens. It consisted of photos of our immortal act and a celebrity with a bullshit caption of praise. Half of the photos actually looked superimposed. I guessed that he was thankful for Photoshop. The thing is, if everyone was as good as these captions say, they wouldn't need a slideshow of the captions that praise him. It was time to start the show. The background music faded with the house lights. The curtain went up with the entertainment officer's entrance music. Ladies and gentlemen, the Arena Theatre proudly presents... Not proudly, I thought to myself, reluctantly should be the word. I can't say his name due to the likelihood of being sued. Anyways... Spandau Ballet's Gold started to play. Yellow lights were twirling around the auditorium, and it was time for me to brace myself for a disaster, a full-on abortion of a show. As predicted, no one was really laughing at his ancient one-liner gags. You could sometimes hear a faint murmur of a giggle, but not much. It was pure tumbleweed, a ghost town that was populated. I felt embarrassed watching this. The act started to panic. You could tell as the jokes started to come out as borderline racism. Just as I predicted. What do you call 2 Pakistani homosexuals, he said. There's a short pause. Ram it and jam it. There was a bit of a laugh, but nothing spectacular. So the act persisted with that tone of jokes, which were progressively getting worse in tone, just so he could finish his set slightly unscathed. Then it came out of his gob. The motherload. The joke to ruin the entire cruise for everyone. There was an airplane flying over the Atlantic. It was running out of fuel, so the captain gave the order to start jettisoning any excess weight, so the plane could stay in the air long enough to make land. So all the passengers and stewards and stewardesses started to bail out all their luggage and hand luggage. All the duty-free was ditched. They even ditched all the food trolleys, but this wasn't enough. They still needed to ditch some weight, so the captain makes an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we haven't lost enough weight. It looks like we're going to have to sacrifice a few people, so the rest of us can survive. I've made the hard decision of doing this in alphabetical order of race. A black child taps his father's arm and woefully asks his father, "Dad, does that mean we're fucked?" Father went down to his son's height and whispered to him, "If anyone asks, we're w***s." There was a moment of silence. Then a huge black man stood up and shouted, "What the fuck did you say, n***?" The whole auditorium heard this. I heard this through my control room and my comms. There was a look of panic on the act's face. The same look you get when you know that a car's going to hit you and you know that you're going to be totally fucked. The black man repeated himself even louder, and this was when the act made his biggest mistake. The act ignored the man and said, "Moving on." A pint glass flew into the stage and missing the act by a fraction. Then a second glass went into the air, this time smashing off one of my lights. Glass and beer cascaded down from the lighting bar and showered over the stage. The act froze with fear. He didn't even know what to do. I was asked over the cans whether to drop the curtain and pull him off to safety. "Delay that," I said. It was time he got what he deserved. I had a huge grin on my face when this black guy got onto the stage and went nose to nose with the act. There was a massive applause from the audience when this guy picked the act up by the neck and started to choke him. That was my cue to call security. I made the call and radioed the stage boys not to allow them into the wings. Keep it confined to the stage. "Off comms," I said. I pulled my headset off and picked up my adjustable spanner. I put it in my pocket in case things turned ugly towards me. I ran down the stairs towards the stage. I ran up the stage treads and approached the choking act and this big scary guy. I'm not going to lie, I was intimidated by this guy. I put my head close to this guy's ear and said, "I'm sorry about this, sir, but you need to let go and come with me. Security's been called, and if you come with me, we can straighten this out. I know he upset you, and what he said was inexcusable, but I need you to be the better person at this moment." The guy let go of the act. He followed me off stage and the curtain went down behind us. The house lights and the house music went up. We were greeted by security by the time we arrived at the auditorium doors. The noise boy came down from the control room holding an uncased DVD and handed it to me. It was a recording of this abortion of a show. I took it over to the security team and handed it over. This guy is clearly upset at what the act said. The act was bang out of order and this guy stood up for what was right. You'll do the same if this guy was racist towards your races. The security team was made up of Filipino and Indian officers. The team leader took the disc and gestured to the man to come with them. I knew that they would all watch the incident and the guy would be off the hook. Meanwhile, our act was backstage huddled into a corner crying his eyes out as the entertainment manager was cheering him a new arsehole. No one saw this act on the ship ever again.